Sure. I'm John Wright. I'm a baritone. I've sung with choral arts for 15 years straight through.
My name is Julie Lang, and I sing in the alto section, and I've been a member of Choral Arts since 2006.
Well, I'm Lauren Osborne, and I mostly sing alto 1, but I sometimes jump up to soprano 2. And I just finished my 4th year with Choral Arts.
And I'm Rob Lieberman. I'm a second tenor, and I just finished my 3rd year with Choral Arts.
Choral music is my release. It's what gets me away from the stresses of everyday life. It gives me a chance to explore art in a more fulfilling way than teaching it to other people. I get to learn this time, which is ideal for me, and it's just my opportunity to express myself.
I've thought a lot about this, and I think it comes down to it just makes me feel better. If I've had a bad day and I can go to rehearsal, and even though the rehearsals can be fast-paced, they can be long, they're busy, you're not in the right mindset, but at the end of the rehearsal, I feel better. And I feel better not just because I've been singing, but I feel better because I've been sitting with people and enjoying the company of other people who are singing as well. And we're all kind of united to make music. We all genuinely enjoy each other's company. So it's kind of this little safe space that I can go to, and I feel better. And then in a concert, one of the things I enjoy looking at the audience when you can see them, but I enjoy the expression on their faces that comes from them listening to us. And, you never know what kind of baggage people bring in with them when they come in and sit down. And so you never know how the music is going to touch them. I like having part in making them feel something. And it might spark a memory for them, good or bad, but if it makes them feel something, I think that we've done our job.
We actually met singing in our college glee club. I was mostly an instrumental musician, but I had a roommate who was a member of the Yale Glee Club. But he came to me in the middle of junior year and said, we're doing this thing where we're going to sing, the Glee Club are going to sing the Britain War Requiem with Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw, we're going to prepare with our regular music director, and then Shaw is going to come in for a week and rehearse the Glee Club. I think there might have been another chorus and the New Haven Symphony Orchestra doing the Britain War Requiem. So I said, and he said, they want a bigger chorus. We're looking for ringers. Why don't you come sing? So I said, and I'd sung in high school, but not really since. So I went along, and there I was. And first of all, this was the most amazing experience I ever had singing with Robert Shaw. And I was hooked. And then I stuck around for senior year. And
yeah, well, so I had been a member of the Glee Club since the beginning, but the spring with the Robert Shaw thing, I was on my junior year abroad and I was in Paris. So I did not meet Rob during that spring, but the following fall I was back from Paris and we had a Glee Club retreat in September of that year. And I kind of vaguely knew who Rob was because his roommate was in the Glee Club, but we had not really met before. And we met at that retreat. And
here we
hit
are.
It off and stayed in the Glee Club senior year, and here we are,
still married,
35 years later.
Still married and still singing.
I enjoy singing with a group because I think it allows me to be a part of something bigger. That I think collectively we can do something that you can't do on your own. I mean, I'm always marveling at the beautiful instrument that is your voice. Like, you don't need to bring anything with you. It's with you all the time. And I really love people singing solo pieces. It's not always something I'm confident doing because of the level of my musical ability. But I like being part of a larger group because, we can all do something together. We can sing pieces that you can't normally sing on your own. And I think there's a power in lots of voices singing together. And I always think, and we've talked a lot about this with different people in the course, that the times that you're very much aware all of a sudden that you're all exactly in the same spot heading towards the same end. And that all of a sudden becomes this feeling that you're like, wow, we're all there, everybody's in sync, and we're all going to get to the same spot.
It was inevitable that I sing. My parents met at the Lake George Opera Festival, where they were both singers. And my father has gone on to a long career as an opera critic and musician, and my mother has been a singer, actress, other things. So everybody in my family sings. So it wasn't something that I had a choice about doing. But then when I got to college, I did have a choice, and I did the Glee Club, I did an a cappella group, and I'm the kind of person who, what I do for my work is a sort of hyper-intellectual, science-y thing that doesn't have anything to do with music, and music is my release, and it's my connection to something personal and something creative that is away from my being a doctor, and it's away from my being a mom, and it's my one way to sort of keep connected to that. And so I did that in college. I sang after college in a group. I sang when I was in medical school and residency. We had a music and medicine group. And then I stopped singing for a long time because we had 2 busy jobs and 3 kids, and there was just no way to figure it out. But the second the kids got to high school age and I figured, all right, now is the chance that I can add something back in, it was one of the first things I did shortly after we moved to Baltimore, because I just missed that piece of connection in my life.
The drama of it. I don't mean necessarily the constant mauler of the whole thing and intense drama, but I mean even the lightest, airiest piece of music has its own drama in it. You combine that with multiple forces singing at the same time, and you feel that energy and that synergy between people. You have a tendency to breathe together even though you don't expect to. Your hearts start beating in sync with each other, and that feeling of group effort to achieve a common purpose is kind of sorely lacking in the world these days. And it's kind of nice to get the chance to be with other people and to create something on the spot for the first and only time, because the next time we sing, it's not going to be the same as the time before. So every single time we do it's going to be brand new.
Singing and being a part of choral arts is the one thing that I do during the week, every week, that makes me completely put work out of my mind. I have, for many years, I had crazy, intense administrative jobs where that left me no time for anything. So it wouldn't even been possible. But even now, I have a pretty all-consuming job, and as Lauren said, we have a full home life with kids who are pulling us in all kinds of different ways. And so it's not just the creative outlet and the outlet to be a musician with other great musicians, which I really cherish, but it's the one thing that completely takes me out of the everyday humdrum routine aspects of my life, which I love. I love my job. I love my family. I love all the things that I do. But this is the one thing that just transports me somewhere else and gives me some release.
And the other thing I would say that's particular to choral arts, that's not just why I sing, but why I sing in particular with choral arts, is that we're relatively new to Baltimore. We've been here 6 years now. And when we first came, it was a struggle to sort of figure out, how do we connect to this place and this people, because we had the 2 busy jobs and the 3 kids, and there was no time to do anything like that. And I think choral arts has been the one thing that has really made me connect to the city and the people, and not just because of the singing aspect of it, but because of other ways that choral arts has been involved. That concert we did for the BSO last year, where we supported the musicians and we're out at that church, I thought that was amazing, and one of the sort of few moments where different Baltimore communities were connecting. And the Overly High School thing, and all of those things have been ways for us to connect with Baltimore as a community, which has been really helpful, because we didn't feel part of this world because we came from somewhere else.
This one has stuck with me for years and years and years. Early on with choral arts, we were doing Chichester Psalms, and for reasons that I can't explain, Tom Hall put me dead center of the choir. And I mean, by dead center, I mean not only center of the risers, but center of the rows too. I was like row 2, row 3. And when you're 6'6", you're never row 2 or row 3. So I had sound all around me, and I rarely get that opportunity. And when you have Chichester Psalms and the sound is all around you, literally the sound is all around you. And I felt transported in a way at that moment that I had never felt transported before. It just kind of lifted me. I have never experienced that kind of euphoria in the singing everything. And that's only happened one time since, and that was recently when we did the Vaughan Williams Dona Nobis Pacem, I think it was. Just glorious to sing. So those are two moments that stand out.
Definitely the Mahler.
Yeah, the Mahler in Birmingham.
That was, I said to people when I came back from that I do think it was the most extraordinary musical experience that I've ever had. And for us in particular, that, we met on a, Glee Club college tour 35 years ago, and then we have hardly ever gone away and done something like that together without our kids in that time. So part of it was that, but most of it was just Mirka was amazing, and the choir was amazing, and our preparation was amazing. And that was absolutely extraordinary. I definitely count it at the top.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the other two that I'll mention is this Britain War Requiem with Robert Shaw in 1986, which was really extraordinary. I mean, for all of his curiosities as a conductor, that was an incredible musical experience. It's a riveting piece to be a part of. And the other one I'd mention is I did get to perform at Carnegie Hall as a member of the Yale Symphony Orchestra in 1986. That was super
when
fun.
I was a resident, we did. There's a Music and Medicine Association that Cornell and Columbia residents and med students are part of, and we did a Mozart Requiem, which was the biggest thing that they had ever tried to do. Mostly the association was like little chamber pieces, and they got together a full choir and a full orchestra, all of doctors, nurses, people across the medical center, and the orchestra was pretty good. The chorus had some issues for sure, but it was still an amazing experience to be there, all with people who are non-professional musicians, and trying to put on this amazing and wonderful piece. And I made my oldest son go with me and be part of that. And so to have that experience with him was really extraordinary.
There was one time we were singing years ago, and we were singing in one of those little Emmanuel, it was at Emmanuel Lutheran, one of those Christmas concerts. And we were singing My Lord, What a Morning. It was chamber chorus. And all of a sudden you got this sense right in the middle of it when we were getting toward the large crescendo that all of a sudden I felt, wow, everybody's in sync. And this is one of those moments that you're thinking, wow, this is really nice. This is beautiful. And I'm so glad to be a part of it. We've also done, when I remember doing a Pops concert years ago, and I think it had a bunch of patriotic stuff. Jack Everly's really great at putting all that stuff together. And one of the pieces that we were singing was some setting of God Bless America at some point. And I remember looking, and it was packed, the house was packed, but I remember looking towards the upper balconies, and as we were singing, people started to stand up. And by the end of the piece, everyone was standing. And it was one of those where you never know how people will react to things. And it was one of those spontaneous moments. And it's kind of like you're looking at that going, wow, that's pretty cool. And I was standing here when that happened. But again, and Mahler 8 too, you're sitting in that huge symphony hall. It's what I call a look where I am moment. I was like, look where I am right now. My mother'd be proud.